Hey, beautiful souls.
Hi everyone.
We've just been chuckling to ourselves about this amazing place that we found.
Yes, normally when we head up here, okay, Badbury Rings, we come in a different way, don't we?
We do. We're actually, I think we're north facing,
Right.
aren't we? We're facing the north or the
Yeah.
northeast because the
Yeah.
wind's coming from that direction. So this is the north side
Nice.
of Badbury Rings. And
Oh.
look what we found.
We came in from a different perspective, a different way. We came around the back way, and we have found we called it a rib cage.
Yeah, it's a
didn't we?
dinosaur's rib cage made out of wood.
Rib cage.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's stunning.
And cold.
You're cold. I'm layered up and I'm trying to pull my scarf down so you can see me.
Yeah.
I am in here, I promise. So hi everybody.
Good morning.
So yeah, it's me and I'm here again with Tim, which is lovely. We haven't done one for a while, have we?
We haven't, and we're also kind of noting that over 2024 we did, I think probably three. We did
Yeah.
3, didn't we? And they got progressively colder.
Yeah.
So this is now probably the version that you're going to see that is the coldest of them all. And then when we do another one in the future, we'll be getting progressively warmer. So this is peak, but we found this amazing spot to sit down,
Nurture, hold us. Yeah.
have a cocoa, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
very, very
thank
kind
you.
of you. And talk about what's going on at the moment.
I was just saying then about the interesting. This is the number 4, and you're mentioning the seasons.
Yeah, 4
Yeah,
seasons. So
4 seasons.
This is the wintry.
And what we're going to talk about,
Yeah, absolutely.
very, as I call it, wintry subject of
Wintriness going in, deepening. There's
health.
so many things that I want to kind of look at, but I think the most appropriate one would be to talk about. I know you're going very, very deep into your healing journey at the moment.
Yeah.
You've had a massive life change.
Yeah.
You are free, you are flowing, you are moving, and you have that unique perspective, Pam, where you can now observe the matrix from your almost not disconnected, we're all still part of it, but you are now witnessing fully the movement of everything around you, whilst in a state where you can pick and choose your stillness when it's available.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe that's the fruit on the tree that all of us are looking for on a heart-centered level. It's amazing I think it's amazing what you've done. You've got yourself a mobile home, you can go anywhere. And
my home is on wheels.
Home is on wheels.
So I made the decision that was my next path for now.
Yeah.
For now, that was my next path. I have no idea what this is for or going to bring, but I feel the calling. And I stepped. I flowed with fear. With the fear, with the surrenderance. I just heard my heart and I had to go. And it's brought its challenges, it's brought its love, it's brought nurture, it's brought my truth. And I love it. So thank you, because how you said it as well was so beautiful.
Thank you. I believe in my heart, and I know that many of you that are listening in will resonate with this, we are all feeling the calling to be doing something that provides us with freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, freedom of you can call it the matrix, you can call it the control system. It was our school. Okay, we no longer are participating fully in the school of the 3D matrix, but it still exists in its prior form around us, even though it's almost what I would describe as in a state of demolition. So you, alongside many other souls, are taking that opportunity to disconnect, and if you haven't already done it, you will already be feeling, I believe, the yearning for that freedom, that ability to go and to do what you need to do to heal, to feel joy, to connect with nature, to experience something that many of us are just thinking there's got to be something else out there. We've stepped onto the spiritual pathway, we've committed ourselves to ascending in whatever way that we apply ourselves to it, but how free are we? How free are we when we're plugged in, when we're going through the motions, we're committed to a day that's maybe loaded up and busy, we've got bills to pay, we've all of these things that we have on a daily basis that we're not fully ready to move away from, because that's not the way that society is built yet. And you were saying, as you listened to the Matrix whizzing past you this morning on the way to work, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have your home on wheels. So
absolutely,
it swings and roundabouts with how we are applying ourselves to it. But I believe that the most important thing is to observe that need for freedom within yourself and honour it to the best of your abilities under the circumstances. I think this year is going to be calling all of us to be very in tune with what we need, even if it's only an hour a day, stepping out, going out into the outside world, connecting with Gaia. She's offered her healing, particularly for this year as the frequency rises. We've hit that, what we would call the golden ratio, the tipping point. We're going to see an elevation in personal consciousness in the collective like none other this year. It's already happening. It's going on all around us. I mean, if you want percentages and numbers, we're at kind of 52-53% at the moment. That's well over where we were at the solstice last year. And Serapis Bay has indicated that it will climb very rapidly to about 60% and then benchmark. A little bit like going to the gym and training. Sometimes you get gains, you get very fit very quickly, and then all of a sudden you plateau. And that's very much like this progressive consciousness of humanity is going to do. But many of us are like, how do we maintain this? How do we continue? How do we perpetuate this sense of joy, this sense of freedom? It's about taking the opportunity to do. Not everybody's going to have the opportunity. Not everybody is going to be able to leave everything behind and move into a van. We acknowledge that. We understand that. But there are other steps and measures that we can take on a daily basis to plug out, to disconnect, to be free. So how free are we? How free do we regard ourselves in relation to everything that's going on around us?
And isn't everyone's, if you want to use the word freedom, everybody's version of it is different anyway. So for me, I felt very trapped still within bricks and mortar. My body wanted to flow, my mind wanted to flow, my roots wanted to flow, and I wanted to challenge myself in a space of I'd already challenged myself in a lot of growth work anyway, going to therapy, body work, that sort of thing, space. And I thought, where's my next place now to do this? So I completely understand that being part of the Matrix is almost a little bit of its own community in itself, but it's about flipping it into, like you said, a healthy version for society, for each other. Because I've sat with the question, I'm going to be honest, do I want to go van life to run away from everything? Is van life another escapism? Like drinking used to be, like, avoidance used to be. All these things that we put in place. to escape the matrix? Or are we escaping ourselves? Are you escaping yourself? And something I know that for me, oh, thank you, Luz. She's like, there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And I wonder sometimes we can be trying so hard to escape the matrix, that it's you. Are you trying to escape yourself?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you can try this running away. So when I think of unplugging, I almost see it as now, rather than an unplug for me, I've turned to start to see it as a wrap it in a blanket.
Yeah.
Nurture that space. I needed to change in my matrix for the matrix to change.
And here we have that's the golden egg. This is what
Oh, golden egg.
is the golden egg.
Okay.
That's the golden egg I believe that all of us are looking for. It's the perpetual source of abundance. I mean, imagine you had a goose that laid golden eggs. You'd never need to worry about anything again.
Yeah.
But so we've got to kind of start regarding ourselves as the goose that can provide that.
What are your golden eggs?
What are your golden eggs? What do you value more than anything else in the world?
Yes.
What brings you that heart-centeredness? What brings you that joy? What brings you out of joy? It's learning to identify what it is that immediately switches you back into that survival version of yourself that's plugged right in. At the end of the day, we can only change ourselves so that the outside or the exterior reflection of the existence that is around us begins to match that frequency. And this is the year. This is the year that all of us are being called to honour that, to be. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Okay, we might on one side be given numbers or time frames or the expectations of the higher realms.
Do you think sometimes, facts take you away from the now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is just now, isn't it? What
Absolutely.
am I feeling right now?
What matters at this moment in time?
Yeah.
You know,
And of course, numbers are in place for a reason, as we know. They show us messages.
Yep.
They are, our guides on our pathways, obviously. But it's kind of, I almost think sometimes if I start thinking like about facts about things, you're almost then distracting yourself from literally what's now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes without saying, and that completely, I saw proof of that very recently. It was those of you following what I've been bringing through about the golden ratio, about the tipping point, will know that we were looking to reach that balance point of 50-50 by the December solstice. That had been an expectation that had been placed upon us by the Intergalactic Council. We didn't reach it. In actual fact, it dropped below 49% around that kind of time, because so many people were dropping density, the energies were so powerful. And so I almost felt like it was almost like it doesn't matter what vibrational space you exist in, even if you're 7th or 9th dimensional, you're still going to be learning lessons. You're still going to be having aha moments where, oh, well, that didn't work, right, I need to step back. Everybody has expectations. Yeah. So I felt and I heard Serapis Bey and the others step back from the situation. They said it doesn't matter. Okay, humanity will reach this golden ratio, this tipping point, when they're ready, when they're good and ready. And then as soon as the situation was released and let go of, all of a sudden, bang, it happened on the 13th of January on that amazing full moon. There was a series of meditations around the world, kind of Diana Cooper kind of got the memo to organise it, and all of a sudden we're not just at 50%, we're at 52% and climbing. It's so when you let go of something, when you're holding on to something so tightly, when you're focused on the numbers, when you're focused on the results that you need. Quite often, and it's one of the oldest teachings in the book, isn't it? You let go and you let God, and everything begins to flow in the correct direction very rapidly and very smoothly. Again, theme for the year.
I always imagine, because I'm a very visual person, so when I heard you, that let go and that surrenderance, I always remember this image, I'm sure that many of you have seen it, of that hand holding a rope, and the hand is so sore from holding that rope, and then the hand underneath that's let go is like glowing. And I always think that's it, isn't it? It's that holding on so much of like, but there is questions there, isn't there?
Always.
Why are you holding on? What are you holding on to? It's not a case, sometimes it's so easy for us to say let go, surrender, but what does that actually mean? To me, surrenderance is owning the truth, your truth. It's sitting and going, damn, I had so much input in why my life was like it was, and owning.
Owning every aspect of it.
And going deep into the shadows to welcome the light, to make room for the light. I've spent so long fighting the light, not realizing that I had to actually go quite dark to allow that in. And I think that for me, surrenderance, we were talking about a wave of energy that came in.
It was almost like
a few days ago.
It's like someone pressed a fear button. Not yesterday, but the day before. It was Wednesday. I got a run of messages from people saying that they were feeling incredibly despondent, incredibly lost, like everything on this planet wasn't worth anymore, and you felt it as well, because we spoke about it yesterday morning.
Heart, I've got goosebumps now, thinking back in that space rather than now. My head went there. It's the sadness. So much sadness came through for me. And I reverted back to a place that I haven't been in for a long time. And I said to you a couple of days after, because I tried to weave through it with what I needed to see. And I mentioned we spoke, didn't we, about it? And you were, you're not alone. This is a collective. Almost felt to me like I see it as like a flush through,
a ditching
of energy, so I can then nurture the next weave that's of thread.
This has been a remarkably powerful week, and I often find that these super duper powerful weeks happen when we least expect them. I've had 2 incidents where I'm going to sleep and I've heard, it's almost like someone breaks through the dimensional space. I hear a bang, my ears pop in my room, and it's almost like I can hear the radiators and the windows shaking, but there's been no physical noise. Like nobody else in the house would have heard it. It's just for me. That's happened twice in 3 days. Now, my intuition tells me that's a timeline jump. It's a shift. It's where you're just grabbed from one space and whopped into another. So to have 2 of those in such a short space of time, plus that very intensive collective fear and sad, because it manifests slightly differently in each person that experienced it, but ultimately it was despondency, it was sadness, it was hopelessness, it was
it was honestly, I just cried, didn't I? As soon as I was,
as soon as you were presented
it, I was like, I'm gonna cry now. And even now I can feel the sadness with it. It came.
What a release. What a release.
And you felt it emotionally?
I was aware of it. I was aware of it and I observed it. I didn't feel it acutely. But I saw enough people actually experience it to know that that correlates to what we would describe as a timeline jump, because when you jump shift from one space to another very quickly, and you're going from a lower frequency to a higher frequency, you can't take that baggage with you, so you have to ditch it. That's spiritual science, folks. You know, you have to drop density very rapidly.
Yeah.
So it only takes a day in these times now. Think yourself lucky, like it would have been a month ago. It would have been a month of purging.
Don't you
5
just
years
think at the
ago.
moment I'm like, I'm okay now. No, I'm not. I'm okay now. No, I'm not. Oh, now I'm not okay again. No. And then I'm like, whoa, think of your words, Karen. Think of your words. You're always okay.
Yeah.
Whatever is happening, you're always okay. And that's for everybody. We are. It's understanding what it's trying to clear the vision for.
Yeah.
Clear the way. I was thinking when you were saying about jumping timelines, I almost feel like, Mother Earth was shaking
Yeah.
to say,
Lose it. Drop the sadness. Drop this hopelessness, and come back to 0 point. When we experience, I mean, that was an acute, what I would call an acute observation of this incredible density movement, this dropping density that affected so many people. I'm not saying for 1 second that this will be the last time that we I think we're going to have a year of jumping, but I was told in advance that February would be incredibly powerful, and so far so good. You know.
excuse me, the becoming into, well, it's spring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Following Earth and all her awakenings that are happening into the, even like this, Tim, we saw this as a rib cage.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at us sitting in our grief circle.
Yeah, in our
'cause
dinosaur's rib cage. You know.
Ribs is our grief. And like, look at us placing ourselves into a spot where we're willing to surrender, and but also being held by Mother Earth herself and somebody else who's come along and built this.
Exactly. I mean, this.
It's like, thank you to whoever that is.
Yeah.
Whoever that was.
Massive thank you, because it's actually we're quite well protected here as well, aren't we?
Yeah, it's
like,
windy
from the
up
wind,
here.
It's windy,
And I was thinking, I hope people could hear us through the wind, and then I thought maybe they needed to hear the wind as well, or instead of us, as well as us.
Actually, I think the acoustics in here are quite good.
Good.
So that's our flow at the moment, is just observing what's coming through, remembering that the 0 point that you are looking for exists within you, and that's not a cliche. It's something that I was shown very clearly at the beginning of the year, that return to the heart, return to the 0 point. I had a very distinctive message from Mother Earth, Gaia, saying, if you need to, I am here, come to me for healing. So it's almost like you're going to need this. You're going to need this as you shift. Connect with me, be outside, observe, feel the elements, feel the movement, come back to nature, come back to yourself. There will be a million reasons to be triggered and overexcited or in survival mode, because that's the film that the Matrix is playing at the moment, attempting to get our energies, have our distractions. It's more important than ever to completely shut out, as much as we possibly can, everything that's going on that cinema screen. You don't want to watch it, basically. It's that's the clear.
Unless it's called Moana 2.
Yeah.
What a beautiful film.
Oh.
If you haven't seen Moanas, watch them.
Yeah, I definitely had to treat myself to that.
Oh, such, honestly, what a beautiful films. There's my child wonder coming out there of, I want to be Moana. Oh, it's just, it's stunning.
That's wonderful.
God, the very Mother Earth film.
So I'll have to treat myself to that.
Oh, yes.
Yay.
Child wonder. So you're saying like listening to yourself and coming into the, as you know, I like to just have fun in the woods.
Yeah.
Do you allow yourself that space? Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, this has been my calling for, well, this will be the 5th year now of going outside. When I first started doing this job over 10 years ago, I always used to get my downloads while I was mowing people's lawns.
Wow. Okay.
You know, like I'd be
that vibration as well, and
just
the vibration
movement,
of
the
always.
connection,
Yes.
focused on getting the stripes straight, you know, and then all of a sudden the dragons would come in, or I'd receive some information from Archangel Metatron.
Oh, wow.
You're going to get what you need outside, connected, tuned in.
Yeah.
That's an observation that I've been making on an increasing level now for some time, but now more so this year than ever. And we're coming into spring here in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
Autumn in the south. Everything's kind of changing and everything's moving. Got the equinox coming up next, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got a workshop.
We have.
On the
We've
29th.
got a workshop. Yeah.
Yay.
On the 29th in Dorset. So we will have the information out soon, won't we, about it?
We will indeed, and it's going to be in a beautiful, beautiful place up in Blandford, Dorset. So that'll be one for the diaries.
Oh, yeah. And we'll let everyone know when that's out and about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've never heard that story of you saying like mowing the lawn and
Oh,
when it
yeah.
all. Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
That's the. You know what? It's one I overlook, because that's where, you know, when I first started doing what I'm doing, I was still a gardener.
Yeah.
I was still running a gardening business, and I just used to get so much when I was mowing lawns.
Yeah.
Not if I was hedge cutting, because you've got your headphones on, you've got your hedge cutter, and you've got to kind of watch what you're doing. But mowing lawns for me was like my 0 point. I'd just go into another world, and that's when they step in and all that information comes through. I used to love it.
So your advice is to get outside,
Yep.
mow lawns.
If they need mowing.
So yeah, get outside. When you're outside, if people, because I always think there's different levels when it comes to tapping in, as we
Yeah.
know. And how do we learn to get to that deeper consciousness of ourselves?
I don't think it's something you can necessarily look for. It just simply happens. Everybody's personal experience of what they receive outside is going to be very much kind of due to, it's going to be down to how their third eye is kind of geared up, how you personally perceive when you do receive, whether you're clairsentient, whether you're clairaudient, whether you see everything around you, which is, that's always a treat, isn't it? And
Hello.
pixies, gnomes popping up in the outside. So it'll all be down to personal interpretation and receptivity. But even if it's just
and what's for you?
Yeah, what's for you
will be different from
person to person.
And I sometimes wonder if this is where I've personally gone wrong, is that you try and look for other people's paths.
Yeah.
And then everybody's path's different.
Yeah.
And I almost think sometimes that we can do so much of that looking out that you don't find your own path until you sit with yours and go, what's for me?
Yeah.
What do I need to receive? Where do I need to go? What does this mean to me? Because otherwise sometimes you can try so hard to do things other people's way.
Yeah.
It's just another,
lesson, isn't it?
we were going to talk about attachments as
We
well,
were.
and I relate that to attachments. I personally relate that. I want to. Please don't shoot me. I sometimes wonder if the spiritual world can become an attachment in itself
Can.
of unhealthiness if
Yeah.
you allow it to be.
Yeah, everything in moderation, everything in balance. When something becomes an overwhelming kind, when it turns from being something that brings you joy into something that you are committed to doing, you're then part of the matrix that you're scrabbling to leave. again,
You've just moved it, haven't
just,
you?
All you've done
You've
is
just gone from here to there.
Yeah.
With your frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's incredible. That's a very, very good point. There's many people that are tuned into the spiritual pathway where it becomes a burden because of what you mentioned, comparison.
Yeah.
It's you can look at all of these other wonderful light workers doing their individual job, and I used to see it it began to become obvious to me with what I call third eye envy. You get like 100 people in a workshop, there's always one person who can see the dragon or can see the golden alien. Everyone else is, I wish I could see that sort of thing. I can only feel, I'm clairsentient, and it bugs me every day sort of thing. And there they are seeing all this wonderful stuff wafting around the room.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example of spiritual comparison. You've got what you've got, somebody else has got something else, and you want that, or you think that you should do that because you're a crap light worker if you haven't got it.
Yes.
And that's an ongoing battle with all of us because we're human. It's human to make these comparisons.
So the surrenderance and the acceptance and the attachment is all, it's letting go of the attachments.
Yeah, be happy with what you've got and what you've brought through. Nurture that.
Yeah.
Focus on the amazing things that you have come down here to do, and your individual gifts and your individual talents and what you are offering to the world, because nobody else will have that. Nobody else will have your keys, your codes, and what you are bringing through to present to this amazing pathway that we're all on together.
It's your medicine, isn't it, as I see it?
Yeah, personal medicine.
Right, medicine. I've really started to learn to appreciate other people's medicines. Yeah. My attachment is almost letting go of my attachment so I can see the beauty in mine to see the beauty in others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah.
Rather than fighting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with fighting. I don't know anyone else. I don't know about anyone else. So I'm kind of exhausted with all this fighting. And
I think all of us
time to nurture. Time to nurture our hearts, nurture each other.
Yeah.
I've spent so long last year having to fight my way out of the matrix. I wanted to call it then. Now I don't really like using that terminology, but for myself. But now I'm learning to, I see it as like a new thread, a new route coming through, and wrapping blankets around it, and just hugging it and loving it, and then going back into a world that works with
different perspective.
Yeah. But allowing and understanding. Really had to let go of some attachments within to allow people to be where they are on their journey.
Yeah.
I very much fell into the trap of last year of trying to heal the world, save the world. And yes, I know that's what we're all beautifully trying to save ourselves.
Yeah.
Save ourselves.
Big one for 2025. It's all about us before everything else.
Yeah. You for them. Do you have attachments you've been trying to shift, let go of, or have you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it is. I don't think any human being, regardless of how elevated on the spiritual pathway they are, can say, "I am free of attachments. I've done my shadow work. I'm golden, shiny, and ready to go." That's just not where we are. And even at the highest levels, they still have aha moments where it's like, oh, I was too attached to that. That outcome was that example of the tipping point, reaching the tipping point by the December solstice was a perfect example of that. The expectation that you can have the attachment to something, the attachment to whether it's healthy, whether it's unhealthy. We will, on the other side of it, we're always going to be human. Always going to be human, and regardless of whether we choose this as our final incarnation and shoot off somewhere else, you're going to have that badge. I have been to Earth, and you're always going to have that aspect sewn into your soul personality, because you bring that back to your monad Like you know, it's like here's what I did. Here's what I learned. Here's what I took away with me from my experience, my incarnation.
And if we sit and actually think about Earth, I love it here.
Yeah.
I love people. I love Earth. I love me. I love you. I love all of it. Everything.
Yeah.
But things really do get on our own heads sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's our own fault.
Yeah.
That's our fault of where we're at in that moment, of why we allowed that to happen when it's come in.
Yeah. Again, just observe and just let it go once you've realised it. That's
Part of me, when you were talking about your attachments and letting go, I was going to go, do you cry, Tim? And then I was like, go on, cry. And I was like, what? What's that say about me? I was like, I want to see you cry. No. Of course you do. Of course you do.
We all have those moments, definitely.
Yeah, that releasing, letting go. Oh.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
I
been
think
beautiful.
I have to come back to this little rib cage of woodenness when I think probably the next time we do this will be a little bit warmer, won't it?
When called to.
Yeah, when called to.
When
definitely.
called to.
Definitely.
And this year is very much about community. Community, togetherness. So if you are out there and you are getting hit by these waves almost of, hit by these waves of the sadness and the deepness and the struggles that are coming into this life at the moment, then do reach out to community to help, to people that are safe spaces for you.
Yeah. Find your safe space, find your people.
And remember that safe space might be in here if you allow it.
Yeah.
If you allow it, your safe space is here also. Teaching yourself how to be a safe space.
That's beautiful advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are very welcome, and I feel like I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But for now, we will let people know about
29th.
the 29th of March.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be
the
up soon.
spring equinox, and we have got a beautiful space just the other side of Blandford.
Yeah.
For
I've not
that.
seen it yet. Forward to it, but I know the grounds.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's all the elements there. The
Excellent.
water. It's such a beautiful space that
Excited.
we're going to for this transition. The year of the snake. How exciting.
Yeah, year of the snake. Fantastic. Year of the wooden
snake. I know. I was
Wooden
just
snake.
thinking wood snake, and look at us choosing to sit in
Yeah.
this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Tim.
And you, Karen, thank you so much. Every time it's an absolute honour and a pleasure. Thank you.
It's just, thank you. I've learned and received so much.
Likewise.
Okay, we want to send you guys loads of love out there,
Yeah.
and look after yourself.
Yes.
And we will see you all soon. Okay,
Bye
take
for
care.
now. Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.